Hey, this is Seth, and in this video I want to share with you my top 5 mindset shifts for success. Now, mindset is the most important aspect of success. This is a fact. Ask any successful person, they will agree with this. Ask an unsuccessful person, they will probably say mindset is BS, and that's usually why they're unsuccessful. The proof is in the fact that if you take a list of lottery winners, you will see most lottery winners lose all their money within a few years. It doesn't matter that they had the money in the bank, they didn't have the right mindset or foundation internally to hold on to that money, and that's why they end up broke. So you want to be examining, growing, and questioning and shifting your mindset as you pursue success. Now, this is based on my own experience going from someone who was broke and unhappy to someone who now has an abundant life and very happy, and I have this location-independent lifestyle, and I help people from all over the world, and it started by changing how I think. These are the top 5 shifts that I underwent, and I'm starting with the most powerful one. The number one mindset shift that everybody pursuing success needs is generosity. Generosity is counterintuitive when you first start pursuing success. If you have a bad job where you're not being paid enough and you want a better job, the last thing on your mind is probably being generous and contributing and what can I give? You probably have a mindset like most people, like I did, which is what can I get? You know, what's in it for me? Unfortunately, this what's in it for me way of thinking actually does not lead to success. Now, this is why I train my students in the course to, when they go to a job interview, if you walk into the job interview and you're thinking to yourself, I really need this job, I better get this job, it's gonna be a waste of time if I interview and I don't get it, that's a very short-sighted, what's in it for me way of thinking, and you probably won't get hired. But you walk into the job interview thinking, I'm so excited to meet these people, I want to contribute to this company, I'm going to have a great interaction. Even if I don't get hired, that's okay, because I can probably build a relationship with these people and I just want to give. That person is probably going to get hired and have success versus the person with the other attitude. Similarly, when I was first starting out in making money online, I built about 10 blogs on everything from car insurance to fitness to dating, all designed to make money. All I cared about was making money, making money, making money. Me. I made no money. Then for fun, I built a blog on filmmaking, and I wanted to teach young people to skip film school and just start making movies because that was something I was passionate about and some information and knowledge I had that I wanted to share. And guess what? That website ended up getting the most traffic and making me the most money, more money than all the money blogs I had created, because I was coming from a place of generosity and giving rather than a place of what's in it for me. My experience in life is that the universe is fair, and it is, what you give is what you get. And so there have been relationships I've had or interactions I've had where I've just given and things come back to me. Like, it's all very non-linear. So I would just encourage you to give up a transactional mindset. Don't come into, whether it's a job interview or you're starting a business and you're dealing with customers or even networking for business, don't come into it with an attitude of like, I'm only gonna give if I get, I'm only gonna do this if I get something in return. That is it's not inspiring. It's a turnoff. I mean, haven't you been on LinkedIn and somebody messages you and they're like, hey, I'd like to connect, and you're like, cool, let's get to know each other, and then they're like, hey, buy my product or service, or hey, are you struggling with your business? Let's get on a coaching call, and I'll tell you about my coaching packages. It's such a turnoff when people just immediately are so clearly out for their own benefit. So you don't want to be that person either. You want to be the person that's giving, and it will come back to you. And this is, again, I think this is one of the biggest shifts that's necessary that I did not have in my early 20s. By the time I got into my 30s and I got into digital marketing, I had naturally was just so excited about digital marketing that I would give information to people, I would share, and that way of being brought relationships into my life that I didn't expect and expanded in ways that I didn't expect. And I think it's a really powerful way to approach life and will lead you to success. The number 2 most important mindset shift for success is responsibility. Now, responsibility is widely misunderstood in our culture. I'm not talking about obligation or guilt. I'm talking simply about your ability to respond. And there's also a lot of social aspects of responsibility that I'm not going to get into. I'm just going to talk about this in terms of success. And basically, in terms of success, responsibility means your willingness to be 100% accountable for all of your own results in your life. And it's absolutely essential. So I just want to give you a quick example. There's people who write me emails because they can't afford the course. Now, the first person writes me an email and says, Seth, I really want to change my life and get a job in digital marketing. I want to get into your course, but I'm broke. Please give me the course for free. That's person one. Now, person two says, hey, Seth, I want to get your course. I want to change my life, get digital marketing skills. I can't afford it right now, but I'm going to work and save up, and in about 6 months, I'm going to join your course. Now, obviously, the first person is not being responsible. It's not a judgment. It's literally about power, guys. That person has given up all their power. They say, I can't afford it, so give it to me, which wouldn't empower them in any way whatsoever, because now there's an imbalance. Like, why would I give this course to you for free when everybody else pays for it, and then you're not acknowledging the value that I'm giving to you? But you're acting like you don't have the ability to pay for it ever, and you've just taken away all your own power. Whereas the second person is like, at the moment, I don't have the money, but I'm going to get it over time. And that is a powerful, can you just feel the difference in that level of responsibility? It's a very, very powerful mindset shift. So if there's most of us in our lives, I had this a lot in my 20s especially, and I was blaming my parents, I was blaming external circumstances, I was blaming the fact that I didn't have success in the past. And I would always end up failing again because I wasn't willing to just say, look, I caused these problems, I caused this situation, and I'm the one that's going to change it even if it takes time. So if you have a situation in your life where things aren't going the way that you want to, ask yourself if you're secretly blaming somebody else or if you're secretly not fully being responsible for it. Again, I'm not talking about blaming yourself. You can always make adjustments to what you're doing. You can always learn about what you're doing, but you have to ultimately first be responsible for the results that you are getting, and don't blame any situation, person, or any external force. That is how you end up having the most power and the most success. Number 3 mindset shift is coachability and humility. This was another problem I had in my 20s. I was a know-it-all. I actually went to these seminars run by people who were millionaires, who were giving me advice and telling me this is how you have success. And a lot of what they said had to do with my mindset. I didn't listen. I literally would sit there broke, like I could barely afford like the place I was living. And some guy who's like drove in a Mercedes and was making millions of dollars was giving me advice, and I wouldn't listen. I was so arrogant and thinking I know better. I wouldn't listen, and I was not successful. So it takes something to be coachable. And one of the things I've noticed, especially in our world today, everybody is a know-it-all. Especially now, people lecture each other and they want to give each other advice about everything. I have found the most successful people are the ones who usually don't give as much advice and are the more open and willing to learn. I know as I've gotten older, I am much more open and willing to learn from people and to be humble and to think maybe somebody else knows something that I could learn versus trying to convince everybody that I know everything. And if you go on the internet especially, you run into this all the time. You can just go to Reddit. You're gonna see a lot of know-it-alls who are probably broke or have not successful in their own lives, giving out a lot of advice and judgment about other people and being essentially know-it-alls. So if there's any area in your life where you're struggling, ask if you are being a know-it-all or not being humble. I'm not saying that you are, but every one of us, myself included, I have to check myself a lot of times because I will have an interaction with somebody and I will resist what they're saying or not really fully listen, and then it's only later where I'll be like, oh, you know what? I was a bit arrogant there. I didn't really listen to what that person had to say and let it in. I was being a bit of a know-it-all. And when I have that self-awareness and I give it up, I'm much more open in life, much more receptive. I have better relationships. I learn more, and things just go better towards success. But especially if you're trying to learn something, whether it's anything from digital marketing to coding to business, you've got to be coachable and you've got to be humble in order to ingest the information that you're going to be getting from whatever mentor that you are working with. Number 4, mindset shift for success is tenacity, grit, determination. And this, honestly, like a lot of videos are about this, and it's actually the simplest thing, and it's simply you don't give up. And I actually read a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth, which is a study, and it's funny because it's like such a simple thing, but they wrote a whole book about it with study, which is essentially saying talent doesn't matter, intelligence doesn't matter. It's always about the person that doesn't give up. In almost any field, even athletics, where you'd think that talent is the most important thing. No, it's often the person that has the most determination that has the best results. I've seen it in my course. There's some people that could be very, very smart, but if they're not committed and if they give up, they don't get the results. And I was like this until digital marketing. I was like one of these people that I would give up. I would give up on stuff. I'd be like, oh, it's too hard. And I would blame somebody and I'd give up and then I'd be done. Digital marketing, I failed for a year. I didn't know what I was doing. I had a little success here and there, but ultimately I ended up getting my first agency job and then making 6 figures, then making this course. It's because I never, ever gave up. It's been like, 11 years now I've been in this field and I never, ever stopped. And if you don't take anything else away from this video, I was like, all the other tips, shifts are going to really help you, but I know the people who don't give up are usually the ones who have success in the long run. And the 5th and final mindset shift for success is courage. Any pursuit of success requires courage, guys. And we don't use that word a lot these days, but I really want to acknowledge any of you who is pursuing success. It's so easy and it doesn't take any guts at all to just kind of go on autopilot like a lot of people do and just get whatever job you've got and not try to better yourself or create anything or get a new job or change careers or build a business. It's so, go on LinkedIn too. I noticed that, and obviously I help people get jobs, but I noticed that people will really congratulate you if you get a new job. They don't really congratulate people for starting a new business, which takes such courage to try and do that. Any pursuit, any attempt to better yourself requires courage, which means the willingness to be with fear and act anyway. And that includes the fear of failure. And, none of these other mindset shifts really matter if you're not willing to try new things and to go put yourself out there, whether you're getting digital marketing skills and applying to jobs, or you're starting a business, or even trying to build a new relationship, a business relationship, a personal relationship, dating, things with your family. Courage is essential. You have got to be willing to be with the natural fear that comes from doing something new or doing something unknown where you don't know if you're going to win or lose. Especially when you're beginning, because in the beginning, that's where you need the most courage, because that's when you don't know anything and your mind's natural tendency is going to be to clam up and to quit and to not want to do things where you're going to fail or feel like you don't know anything. So I really acknowledge all of my students who have pushed through that. I had to push through that with that, like I was saying, that first year of digital marketing. I failed and I failed and I failed and I felt stupid and I asked myself what I was doing, but something pushed me into the unknown. So how do you actually get courage? You don't, it's not like the Wizard of Oz where someone gives you a heart. It's simply a willingness to be with fear of failure or whatever else there might be and take action anyway. If you have that willingness, that is your courage, and that is something you can bring to even examining these things. 99% of the population, from my experience, never examines their thought process, their ways of thinking. It takes courage to do that because it's not usually very comfortable. You may see something you don't like about how you think or how you've been operating in life, and you may have to make a change, and human beings hate change. It's like part of our DNA. So if you have the willingness to examine these things and to deal with unpleasant feelings and make changes and take action anyway, that is courage. That will lead you to success. Now, that's my top 5 mindset shifts for success. I hope you found this valuable, guys. I hope it makes a difference for you. And, please feel free to leave comments or questions below and let me know if you found this information valuable. And I'll see you in the next video.